What is good, YouTube, and welcome back to a brand new video. We are back with another new look rebuild, as today we have ourselves the Denver Nuggets, but we are using the term new look very loosely because the Nuggets hardly changed at all, but we're still doing all 30 teams as I promised. Like I said, the Denver Nuggets, they didn't change very much at all this offseason, but we will go over the changes that they did make. They had a few additions here and there, but not much has really changed whatsoever. So let's jump in and do this new look, I guess, Denver Nuggets rebuild. Before we get into today's video, make sure guys drop a like on this one and subscribe if you are new to this channel. As always, greatly appreciated. YouTube tells me about 60% of the people that watch my videos aren't actually subscribed, so if you do fall into that 60%, want to change that as we're on the road to 40,000 subs, that would be greatly appreciated. But as I said, the Nuggets, they didn't change very much at all. The one veteran addition that they made to the team, I believe, was like Justin Holiday, and you know, it's a fine role player to bring into the team. And they did draft like Julian Schroeder, Hunter Tyson, and also Jalen Pickett. And then they have a few two-way contract guys as well. By the way, the share scenario file I am using is Joda Kelmer's. It's on Xbox Series X for the people that always ask me what roster I am using. That is a share scenario file by Joda Kelmer. But right now, this Nuggets team actually has 16 players under contract. So if I try to go into the season, I have to fix it. So what we're going to do is we're probably going to go ahead and cut Colin Gillespie here. He is actually on a two-way contract in real life. But I don't think this 2K allows 3 two-way contracts like they are now in the new CBA. So unfortunately, I'm going to have to cut Colin here. So that's what we'll do to start this rebuild. But let's get in to the rotation up top. So as I said, this team is coming off a championship, right? The pieces on this Nuggets team just fit so perfectly. But one thing we know is they're not a good team in the 2K simulation. They hardly ever go very far, it feels like. So we still have our work cut out for us today, regardless of the Nuggets, you know, being good as they are in real life. They're probably the team to beat in the West now, obviously. But if you take a look at the team, the bench right now is honestly pretty terrible. It's not great at all. You have Christian Brown, and after that, it's kind of a huge fall off. So we still heavily have our work cut out for us. Obviously, there's a lot of young players that could eventually step up in the rotation for us. But for me, I'll probably just run a 9-man rotation because that's what we probably should be doing. And then for the guys that we're not going to be playing this year, like Peyton Watson might be a guy that steps up in the rotation next year. But we're probably going to go ahead and send him down the G League. We can send Julian Schroeder down the G League. I don't know how many people I can do this with. Can I send Hunter Tyson down there as well? We might just do that as well. So yeah, we're going to do Hunter Tyson, Julian Schroeder, and Peyton Watson all in the G League since they're not going to be playing minutes this year. And at the trade deadline, we're probably going to try to make some bench additions, because if we go into the playoffs with this bench, I can't imagine we go very far. Can I move Justin Holiday to the 3 and he might go up in overall? I'm not sure. He goes up to a 76. That should help a little bit, so we'll go ahead and do that. So you have Justin Holiday, Christian Brown, Zeke Naji, and Reggie Jackson. I actually am excited about Zeke Naji potentially being a rotational piece for the Nuggets team next year as well. We'll see how that goes. But proficiency, it's a 4-star pace and space. The starting 5 is great, as we know. So we can probably leave it at pace and space if we wanted to. I'm going to move Mike Malone's preferred system to pace and space. And then we'll go ahead and simulate year 1 with probably stopping the trade deadline. I can't imagine we don't stop at the trade deadline or try to make a new bench addition, because this team is just not going to be good enough bench-wise. So I will see you guys either at the end of the season, or, which I promise I probably will, stop the trade deadline to make a brand new trade to bring in a bench piece for this team, because we desperately need to improve this bench. But let's see what happens. So we're at the trade deadline as we're 33-23 on the season right now. We're actually not doing too bad, all things considered, but I do want to make some changes here as far as my bench is concerned still at this moment. So if we take a look at the player stats so far this season, you have 25 from Jamal Murray. You have a triple-double from Nikola Jokic. Michael Porter Jr. at the moment is injured. Of course, I'm not trying to touch my starting 5. I'm going to leave that exactly the same. It feels good to me right now. We're not going to change that. I also want to try to keep Christian Brown and Justin Holiday, who are actually both contributing at a very high level right now off the bench, which I feel good about. Reggie Jackson, Vlatko, and Zeke Naji are all 3 guys that are going to be probably available to be traded here. The reason why is we don't have many contracts to trade out to match salaries. And basically, the guy I'm trying to get here is a backup point guard at the deadline. He actually used to play for the Denver Nuggets, which is why I think continuity would be really big here. He's on the Pistons now. You guys might know who I'm talking about. It's Monte Morris. I'm going to try to get Monte Morris back on this team. He literally used to play here. He could come off the bench for Jamal Murray. It would like fit right in like a glove. He used to play here, as I said. So if we can get him, the Pistons are rebuilding. They're the 15th seed in the East. So that is the game plan at the moment, is to try to get Monte Morris back on this team. So to match his salary, it's going to be a little bit hard. As I said, Reggie Jackson's going to have to be in the trade. I also believe I'm going to have to throw in Zeke Naji, unfortunately, as well, which I don't love. But I think to get Monte Morris back on the team and we could sign a backup center in the offseason, I think it's going to be fine. So Reggie Jackson, Zeke Naji, and then we're going to go ahead and take back Isaiah Livers from them. And we're going to be a little bit off 380K. And we might have to include maybe like maybe a DeAndre Jordan in this trade. And then what can they give me back in return? Like Simpson. So yeah, it'd be something like this where we trade Reggie Jackson, Zeke Naji, DeAndre Jordan. We get Monte Morris, Livers, and Xavier Simpson. Basically, we get our backup point guard. We would be getting rid of our backup center, which kind of sucks, but I don't really view Zeke Naji as like our long-term backup 5 anyway. I'm going to offer this. They do not agree to it. I'm not going to go too far. If they don't want to take like a couple seconds, then we're going to say no to this. 3 seconds, and they do agree. So that was as far as I was going to go. 3 second-round picks. There was no way I was trading a first, but we got our backup point guard back in Monte Morris. That's going to improve our bench tenfold once Michael Porter Jr. is back and healthy. That's going to just make a major difference. So we can re-sign Monte Morris in the offseason. And then now what we can do is we can go ahead and try to get a backup 5 here because we do not have one at the moment. So we're going to have to either waive... we're probably going to waive Xavier Simpson. I think he only has 1 year left in his contract. Yep. So we're going to go ahead and cut him, and we're going to sign a center in free agency. So that's going to be what we do here at the deadline. So centers that we have available in free agency, DeMarcus Cousins is injured, but he used to play for Denver. You have Tony Bradley. You have William Gomez. I'm not going to lie. These options out here are not great, but if we can get Tony Bradley on a minimum for the rest of the year to be the backup 5, I'm cool with that. That's going to be a lot better than what we had. So the bench improves just a little bit. Now we have Monte Morris, Christian Brown, and then once obviously Porter is healthy, that's going to kick Vlatko off the rotation. So we definitely need to improve our lineup still, our bench depth and just depth in general. But with those guys in the G League, that should help a lot next year. But let's go ahead, summate the rest of the year. Hopefully with Monte Morris coming back to the Denver Nuggets, we can keep staying as a top 4 seed in the West. One thing I don't often do either anymore is stop at the contract extension deadline because it like never works for me. But in this year's scenario file, it's actually working, and Jamal Murray is willing to re-sign an extension. I think we go ahead and give him that extension. I think we give it to him. We don't even think twice about it. Jamal Murray, welcome back for more years on the Denver Nuggets. KCP is also willing to re-sign, and you know what? I'm gonna go ahead, and he's not even asking for that much. So you know what? Let's go ahead, re-sign him for 2 more years after what he already has. So he's locked up long term as well. So we take care of those 2 guys at the deadline. I love my starting 5, as I said. We can always trade away KCP because he'd be like the odd man out in my opinion if we did make some changes. But hopefully Porter will be back soon. We're still doing pretty well. I'm gonna go ahead and keep simulating. So at the end of year number 1, Nikola Jokic wins MVP in this very first season. 23 points, 13 rebounds, 11 assists. Well deserved from Nikola Jokic. Vic is your rookie of the year. Chris Paul, 6-man AD defensive player. Grant Williams, most improved on the Mavericks. And Nick Nurse, coach of the year. And Tyler Jamison is your executive. So you got Luka, Jamal Murray, Giannis, LeBron James, Nikola Jokic. You got James Harden, Trae Young, Durant, Paulo Banchero, Joel Embiid. And you got like Tyrese Halliburton, LaMelo, Vic, Jimmy Butler, AD. And you got like Luka, Paul George. So all that's looking pretty good. We're the 5th seed in the West. I don't know if we're going to go very far in these playoffs. I would love to be back in the conference finals, you know, fighting for the NBA finals again. But I just have a bad feeling that 2K is not going to give us the respect we deserve. We shall see what happens. But Justin Holiday is injured going into these playoffs. We definitely need him because our depth is pretty bad. But we'll see what happens. So do we have those guys? Yeah. So these guys are pretty upset with me right now. But hopefully with player progression in the offseason, all 3 of these guys could maybe be like a huge pivotal role to our bench. We shall see though. So Justin Holiday is still playing, though, through the injury. We'll go ahead and see how this first series goes against the Los Angeles Lakers. So game 1 against LA. Do they have any injuries that we need to worry about? That would be awesome if they did, at least here just in 2K. And nope, no injuries. So game 1, we're down 1-0, 124 to 118. 36 from AD, 15. He had Austin Reeves with 20 and a group effort, but we fell short. Game 2, we evened it up, 143 to 134. AD with 37. Nikola Jokic matches that with 36. Game 3. 2-1. So far, so good. Game 4, 3-1. Game 5, Monte Morris gets hurt with a broken left leg. That's tough. Okay. It is what it is. And the Lakers, are they going to come back with that? No, we still get past them. So even with Monte Morris getting hurt, we get past them. And the first seeded Grizzlies got upset by the Mavericks. So do we find a way to punch our ticket back to the Western Conference Finals is the question. We shall see. I think with, you know, obviously the injury that we just had, I think we can go to an 8-man rotation, man. There's no reason to have Vlatko playing unless he absolutely needs to. So, yeah, I mean, I think we're going to roll with an 8-man rotation for the rest of these playoffs unless if another injury happens. So, facing Dallas in round 2. Let's see what happens. Game 1, we're up 1-0. Great start. Game 2, we got Tony Bradley getting hurt. That sucks. They even it up. Game 3, 2-1. Game 4, Tony Bradley is back. We're down 3-1. And we're going to lose to the Mavericks. And Jamal Murray gets hurt. And that may be all she wrote. We do lose to the Mavericks in 5. So we lose in round 2 to the 8th seeded Mavericks. And you're going to have, let's see, you got the Suns beating them. Suns Celtics. And the Celtics are going to go on to beat the Suns in 7. I think obviously the main priority this offseason is absolutely we need to find depth for this team. I don't believe the draft lottery is going to matter for us too much. Our pick might actually be even owed to someone. I'm not 100,000% sure on that, as you have the Thunder getting number 1, which obviously isn't actually their pick because the Wizards pick is protected. You got the Bulls getting the Blazers pick, which again, that's not true. And then the Knicks getting Detroit pick is not true. As far as our pick is concerned, do we even own our draft pick in this draft? I'm not 100% sure. I have yet to see my name here. And yeah, we have 21. So we have the 21st pick in the draft. I'm going to go ahead and fix those draft picks. And then I will see you guys on draft night with pick 21. Who knows? Maybe we go ahead and trade this pick if we feel the need to do so. We'll see. I'm going to just kind of view all options and we'll go from there. We don't really have any tradable contracts right now, so we're just going to go ahead and jump in and draft at pick 21 and add another young player to the team. So we have Bronny James, who fell this far. You got Ajinça, Walter, Nunez. So I'm going to go ahead and I think I'm going to draft Bronny James. Why not? So bring in Bronny James to this Nuggets team. I have no idea what his overall is going to be. At pick 21, he was a 75 overall, so not too shabby for a 21st overall pick. So welcome to the team. Player options got Vlatko, of course. We're going to go and accept it. Hunter Tyson, Jalen Pickett. We're going to accept all of those. Qualifying offers, Jay Huff, Braxton Key, Isaiah Livers. I'm going to go ahead and extend the qualifying offer to Isaiah Livers just because we did trade for him and maybe he could become something for us. But free agency, I'm hoping we can splurge a little bit and get some really good bench depth this offseason. Already, I see like a Zach Collins, and I'm already like just absolutely drooling over the idea of Zach Collins being our backup 5 going into next year. So right now, we're going to try to bring back Monte Morris because we did give up quite a bit for him at the trade deadline. So Jamal Murray, Bronny James, you're going to have KCP, Christian Brown. We'll wait and see how good Peyton Watson is with player progression. You have Julian Strawther. We'll see how he does, Vlatko, and then Nikola Jokic. So right now, I definitely want a backup 5, and I'm definitely going to go for Zach Collins. 100% bringing in Zach Collins to be our backup 5. No doubt in my mind, I want him. So Zach Collins, and then hopefully, yeah, so Monte Morris only asked for a minimum. I can't imagine he would actually get a minimum. I feel like he'd get a little bit more than that. So I'm going to go ahead and give him just a little bit more. So Zach Collins, Monte Morris, we bring them both in. I love those 2 additions already. So that's great. So we got those 2, which is great. So we have our backup 5 and our backup center. But we still need to improve the depth even more. I love Christian Brown as my backup 2. And we do have a few guys that are going to be maybe our backup wings next year. So I'm kind of looking at that power forward spot. So backup 4, I see Slow-Mo. I also see like, did I see PJ Wash? No, I did not. So I'm tripping on that. But we have TJ Warren, Jay Crowder, Robert Covington, Cohen Linnick, Royce O'Neal. You have Jonathan Isaac all the way down the board. You could take a flyer on him. You know what? We need depth. I'm going to go ahead and offer him a minimum. And then we're also going to go for Slow-Mo, who is also only asking for a minimum, which I think is crazy. Some of these, I might need to mess with these cap numbers because some of these contracts are kind of unrealistic. I'm not going to lie. Like a lot of these guys are not going to ask for this little. But, you know, I can't really fix it right now, so I guess I'll just go for it. So maybe they're ring chasing. They sign a minimum. We call it a day. Nikola Mirotic. Wow, that's a name I haven't seen in forever. Man, he was great when he was in the NBA. Really good shooter. But is there anything else I want to do? And we can bring in more depth. We might as well. We have 3 backup point guards. We have 4 backup shooting guards, 3 backup small forwards. And I think we're good. I actually think we're good on depth. I might sign 1 more center, and then I'll call it a day there. So, like, even Andre Drummond on a minimum. I think Andre Drummond signing a minimum is not out of the realm of possibility. But yeah, I'm definitely going to mess with my salary numbers because a lot of these just don't feel right to me. So that's something I'm going to mess with off camera. But player progression, we have Jamal Murray up and overall, Christian Brown up. Monte Morris is down. Kyle Anderson's down. So is Drummond. Yeah, Bronny James, Peyton Watson. Okay, so these guys didn't develop as much as I would have wanted, if I'm going to be honest with you. But maybe if we move Peyton Watson to like the backup 3, he goes up even more. We'll see. And he is going to go up to a 75. So it's not bad, but it's not exactly where I want him to be. But we have some depth. I think we have more depth than we did last year. And that's the main thing we needed to worry about. So we got to round 2. We already have an injury with Bronny James, which kind of sucks, but it is what it is. Julian Strawther gets hurt as well. And then, yeah, so wow, we got some injuries in the summer league. Let's keep you guys healthy if we can. But let's get into this next season and let's go ahead and see what this is about to look like. But yeah, again, I am going to mess with my salary numbers, because yeah, those feel a little too cheap. Like the minimum contracts, we had 17 players. I don't know who they cut. Who did they cut for me? I gotta go take a look. I probably should have fixed that myself. Transaction report. Let's go to Nuggets and let's see who they decided to cut for me. So they cut Julian Strawther and Vlatko. I'm not gonna lie, I don't love them cutting Julian Strawther. I really don't love that. But I guess it is what it is at this point. So starting 5 remains the same, but Christian Brown is up, Monty Morris, Zach Collins, Kyle Anderson, if we run an diamond rotation, which we will, so we'll go with that. So slow-mo. I do love our depth. I think our depth is very much there compared to what it was last year, so I'm happy about that. Watson can get some minutes if we eventually as well, so not too shabby. I mean, we could also throw him in the G League once again and just like make him like a stud in the last season maybe. We could do it since he's not playing. I don't know. Do we want to do that? We could throw Bronny James in there as well. We might do it. I'm going to go ahead and throw Bronny James in there. I'm also going to go ahead and throw Hunter Tyson in there. And I'm going to leave Peyton Watson. I'm not going to throw him in the G League this time. So listen, with this season, let's just see how things are going. Hopefully we're still like a top team in the West. Got to round 2 last year. Obviously, we hope to get even further this next year, back to the championship and to potentially win it in the finals. At the end of year number 2, John Morant wins MVP. Ron Holland is your rookie of the year. Also wins 6th man of the year. Shout out to him. Evan Mobley, defensive player. Keon Johnson, most improved on the Miami Heat. And Tom Thibodeau, coach of the year. That is for the Knicks. And then Jacob Park, executive for the Celtics. So Nikola Jokic once again making an All-NBA team. No surprise there. We got Kawhi hurt. We got Anthony Davis hurt. So definitely something to look out for. We're the 3rd seed in the West, and we're playing the Phoenix Suns. So we're still a top team in the Western Conference. Of course, we got to round 2 last year. Jamal Murray is hurt to start these playoffs, which really, really sucks. But Aaron Gordon, Christian Brown is even up to 13 points, 12 from KCP, 8 from Monty Morris, 6, 4.5 from Zach Collins, 5 from Drummond, 5 from Kyle Anderson. So a lot of guys got minutes here and there. So if we take a look at a rotation going into these playoffs, they still have Jamal Murray playing. So that's good at least. And then Drummond can come in. Bronny James, obviously a little upset with me, but we'll just kind of see how these playoffs go. We get Phoenix in round 1. They have Bradley Beal, Josh Okogie, Durant, DeAndre Ayton. I think we beat them last year, right? If I'm not mistaken. I could be tripping, but I'm pretty sure we did. Maybe it was the Lakers we were playing and it wasn't the Suns. Regardless, let's go ahead and let's go game by game here. So game 1, we win 1-0. 23 from Jamal Murray, 32 from Jokic. Game 2, 2-0. So far, so good. Monty Morris gets hurt. At least it's not our starting point guard, and they win game 3. Game 4, 3-1, and we move on to round 2. Again, we do not yet at least, and we do in that one, so we win in 6. So now we draw the Minnesota Timberwolves. Monty Morris is back for this series, which is great. So I feel like we're fully healthy now. And Minnesota, on the other hand, Jayshawn Tate's their starting 3 right now. I'm not sure if they have like an injury or anything. Doesn't look like it, so it looks like a fully healthy team by everybody, but Shake Milton is their starting point guard. So hopefully Jamal Murray can take advantage of that matchup. Game 1, down 1-0. Okay, not a great start. Game 2, down 2-0. Game 3, Michael Porter gets hurt with food poisoning. At this point, that is not what we want to see. Are we about to get stumped in round 2 again? Is that where our ceiling is for this team so far? Michael Porter being hurt with food poisoning for 2 weeks is absolutely insane in the playoffs. Like, what is this? And we get swept by the Timberwolves. So our ceiling right now is only round 2. Well, to break through that ceiling, we might have to make a major change to our starting lineup. And the guy that would probably be on the outside looking in is probably going to be KCP. I think KCP would be the guy that I would trade away. Now, I will say he might only be making $5 million in the offseason, which is going to suck because would like if he was making more money so we can match salary with like a better player. But at this point, it may not look like we can do that. We have Knicks and Thunder in the finals. As the Knicks go on to beat the Thunder, Julius Randle is your finals MVP. But yeah, I mean, after getting stumped in round 2, 2 years in a row, I think we have to make a change to our starting 5. And I'm looking at KCP as the guy that's probably going to be the one that gets traded most likely. Even, I mean, Christian Brown could step up in that role. But I think I'm going to try to get like a really good starting shooting guard if I can. So taking a look at trying to get shooting guards that we can match salary with, it's pretty rough out here. I'm not going to lie. It's really, really tough. The main guy I wanted to try to get was Gary Trent Jr., but the Spurs are being very stubborn with what they, or not the Spurs, it's the Raptors, of course. It's Masai Ujiri, as we know. So they're being pretty stubborn with what they want for Gary Trent. So KCP and Zach Collins does not get it done, and I would include 1 first, and that's about it. I'm not going more than 1 first. I'll throw the second at them as well. 2 first I'm not doing, as I said. I'll throw the second at them, but yeah, it's just not going to go through. So Gary Trent is not going to be possible. That's the main guy that I wanted. Another guy that I was kind of looking at, if we can go back to, point guard, shooting guard, player finder. Going down the list a little bit, it's kind of rough right now. But like if we could get up to maybe I was kind of looking at who was I? It was like Kevin Huerter or Austin Reeves. So I might be able to get up to Austin Reeves as well. That would be another guy that I wouldn't mind getting for this Nuggets team. So if I traded Zach Collins and let's say KCP, bring KCP back to the Lakers. Unfortunately, we have to trade Zach Collins to match Austin Reeves' salary. Just gives us a shooting guard that we can maybe bank on other than KCP, who might even go down in overall. And they agree. So we get Austin Reeves as our brand new 2. So him and Christian Brown will run the shooting guard spot. We keep Bronny James as a third string point guard. And we still need like backup 4s and 5s. So I see Kevon Looney not asking for much money at all. Again, I will be fixing this in the future. But minimum Kevon Looney sounds fine to me. So I'm going to sign Kevon Looney. I'm also going to sign, I think, Andre Drummond back if he's still out here. He's always kind of a cheat code in 2K. So bring him back. And then backup power forwards. I see Caleb Martin, TJ Warren, or even like a PJ Washington. So a PJ Washington off the bench sounds phenomenal in my opinion. So we're going to go with PJ Washington. And then that might be it. We could bring Trey Lyles back to Denver as well. You got like Chris Boucher, TJ Warren. A lot of good options here. But our main brand new addition to upgrade the shooting guard spot is Austin Reeves, which is not bad. Don't get me wrong. But I'm not sure how much he'll go up in overall. And we're kind of banking on Peyton Watson hopefully going up in overall. I'm hoping he can contribute this next season. We'll see if that is the case. Going straight to player progression, you're going to have Peyton Watson not moving, which is pretty unfortunate. So we might have to move him at the deadline. Potentially, we shall see. Austin Reeves also goes down. Christian Brown stays at 79. So not really sure if we did enough to put us in position to go win a championship next year, but we gave it our best shot with the amount we were working with without shaking up the roster too much. I was going to trade Jamal, Porter, Gordon, or Jokic. I love that combination of players. The main guy was KCP. I probably should have traded him when he was still making 17 million, but I still wanted to go ahead and roll with him. So maybe that's my own fault. We shall see how this next season turns out. Proficiency is still 6 or 4.5 or 4, and then we're 16 power ranking. So Christian Brown is starting. Austin Reeves, I really love bringing him in. Bench isn't looking too bad. We got some depth as well. So maybe at the deadline, we do make a trade. If there is one to be made, we will. But this might be our last chance to go win a championship. So we'll see how the season goes. We've done really good in the regular season, but of course, we've fallen short in the playoffs in round 2 twice. So we're looking to get over that hump. Back to the conference finals, maybe at the very least. Back to the finals. If there's a trade to be made at the deadline to put us in that position, I will do it. So we are at the trade deadline as we're 24-30 on the season right now, and I'm looking to make a major change up. This team is currently not good enough. We've had some injuries this year, don't get me wrong, but right now, if I take a look at the roster, it's solid, as we all know, but I'm looking to make a major change here. Michael Porter's on the last year of his contract. This may be our last chance to go win a championship. He does have a team option next year. But I'm looking to make a change here. He's averaging 17 points per game on the season. He's kind of the perfect 3 that we need, who can just shoot threes like crazy, as we all know. But we have Aaron Gordon locked up long term. Of course, we could just like maybe choose to keep Michael Porter. But basically, the guy we're trying to get at the deadline is fun guy, Mr. Kawhi Leonard. So I'm going to try to get Kawhi Leonard, who's on the Clippers. Now, he is 34 years old, so this is a huge gamble. But he's still a 93 overall, which is why I'm banking on doing this. He's still averaging 22 points per game. 93 overall. Put him next to Kawhi, or put him, I should say, not Kawhi. Put him next to Jamal Murray and Nikola Jokic. That's what I'm trying to bank on at this point. So I don't know how easy it's going to be to get him, but Porter matches his salary perfectly. We also could do like obviously Aaron Gordon instead, but I think I'm going to keep Aaron Gordon. This might be our last swing that we can take, which is why I'm doing it. Our 2026 pick might be a little valuable. If I just offered this straight. Okay. That was easier than I thought. So I did not expect him to say yes to that, but now we have Kawhi Leonard. So we made the last big swing. I feel like at this point, the Clippers were just trying to probably get off of him. So you know what? We'll take it. We'll run with it. We have Kawhi Leonard. That was the last big swing that I think we really could have taken. So welcome to the Nuggets, Kawhi Leonard. Michael Porter, I appreciate your services. We're literally 6 games under 500 right now, which is why we made that trade. Hopefully it works out for us. I'll see you guys in the playoffs. Hopefully we're there anyway, because right now we're not even a play-in team. So let's see how this finishes out. So Jason Tatum wins MVP. Ian Jackson is Rookie of the Year on the Atlanta Hawks. Ron Holland, 6th Man of the Year. Giannis Defensive Player. Bones Highland, Most Improved on the Bucks. Coach of the Year goes to Doc Rivers. Jacob Park is your executive. So Jokic still makes an All-NBA team. Does Kawhi make one as well? He does. So Kawhi Leonard, we got him at the trade deadline. As I said, he's overjoyed right now, which is great to see. But here we go. We actually ended up cranking into the playoffs as a 6 seed in the West. Taking a look at the final player stats in the season. You had 24 from Jamal, 23 from Jokic, 22 from Kawhi Leonard. That was a lot easier to get Kawhi than I thought it would be. I mean, he is 34 years old, which is probably why it was so easy to get him. I think the Clippers probably were like, okay, we'll take a younger small forward and Michael Porter. So hopefully it works out for us. Christian Brown even averaged 16 points per game, which is cool. Aaron Gordon 15, Austin Reeves, and then Landry Shamet when he played, which was only 3 games, averaged 14. So here goes nothing. We draw the Houston Rockets in round 1. I'm gonna be honest with you, I don't love our odds at this. We went all in, and hopefully it works out for us. We shall see if it does. I love our bench. I love our depth. We'll just kind of see if it works out. So game 1, they're up 1-0. They beat us by 10. Not a great start. 25, 21, 17, and 14. All right. Game 2, we evened it up, though. 106 to 103. 25 from Christian Brown, 22 from Jamal. Game 3, 2-1. So far, so good. We're up 2-1 on the Rockets. Game 4, 2-2. So game 5 is going to be a very, very pivotal game here. They want to give more minutes to Nikola Jokic. I am down for that game plan. Do we shrink us down to an 8-man rotation as well? No, I think we should probably play Kevon Looney a little bit. So game 5 in Houston. Let's come out here and hopefully win this one. So it's a close game in game 5. I would love to get to round 2 again at the very least. And we are going to win game 5. Now, can we win game 6? We cannot. We're going to a game 7. So game 7 in Houston. This is for our first round lives. Can we come out here and win game 7? And it may not happen. Just kidding. We took the lead, but they took it right back. Please dig deep. Are we going to go home? We are going to go home in round 1. So the big swing on Kawhi Leonard did not work out whatsoever. We go home in round 1. Wow. I mean, is there even a ceiling to even going any further in this video? I don't realistically think there is. I think we might be ending it on a first round loss to the Houston Rockets. Man, I thought for sure that we could at least get one more championship for the Denver Nuggets team, but unfortunately, sometimes it doesn't always work out. And you know what? I'm perfectly okay with uploading this video because realistically, you just don't win a championship all the time in real life. You just don't. It sometimes does not work out. We got to round 2 2 years in a row. We lost to an 8th seeded Mavericks team that very first year. Then we lost to Minnesota the very next year. My only regret is maybe not trading KCP earlier. I wanted to see how the team would do, and I think that's where I slipped up, not trading him earlier for like a shooting guard that made like 20 million or something like that. But I think we're gonna end it on that note. I don't think there's any ceiling to being even better. I mean, I guess we can run it one more year, and that's probably it. So you know what? I'll go one more season on this, but I think after that, I don't think there's going to be any path to being better because Kawhi has one more year on his contract. So I think we can go one more season. So we won't end it on that note. We'll go literally one more year and we'll see if it works out next year, but I don't foresee that happening. So for this final season, Nikola Jokic won MVP, so I guess we can hang our hat on that if things don't work out here. But taking a look at the player stats, it looks like everyone is pretty healthy here and no injuries to worry about, which is great to see. 24, 20, 18, and then Austin Reeves with 15, Aaron Gordon, and Christian Brown. So rotation is as followed. I'm also going to go down to an 8-man rotation for these playoffs. Let's just play our 8 best players and hope for the best. The new addition was Paul Reed, and you also have Washington, Watson, all of them are still here. So let's just see what happens, man. We play Minnesota in round 1. They have Delano Banton as a starting point guard. They have Kispert, Cat. They no longer have Rudy Gobert. So Nikola Jokic, you should absolutely fiend, my friend. There's no reason why we shouldn't win this series with Zach Edey as their starting center, but you never really know with this game. I'm going to click to my current round. We're going to live with the results, and we are going to lose to Minnesota, aren't we? We're going to a game 7 with Zach Edey as the starting center for the Timberwolves. That's great. Okay. Game 7 in Minnesota. We have a really good lead here to start this game, but the Timberwolves could easily come back, which they do. And we're going to lose to Zach Edey and the Timberwolves. So, yeah, that is how the cookie crumbles for us today. So, unfortunately for us, Minnesota has our number as I guess we lost to the team that made it to the finals, and they lost to the 76ers. That sucks. Well, we tried, boys. Today, it did not work out. 2K was not very fond of this Nuggets team. Tried to take a big swing on Kawhi as well at the very end here. Did not work out at all. But you know what? I'll take my L today. That's totally fine with me. I'm going to end it on that note. This is Crushables. I'll see you on the next one. I'm saying peace. Thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure you click here to watch another video that I know you'll love.